The top performers are proudly sponsored by Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Here are your top performers from round number 10, the Magic Round 2025, and the top try scorer as well. There was lots with two, wasn't there? Arthur Morgan of Hull KR, Jake Fulis, Warrington Wolves, Lachlan Walmsley, Wakefield Trinity, and Jez Litton of Hull KR, not to mention KS Fatali and Tom Johnstone of Wakefield Trinity. Brilliant braces from them all. The top try assister was that man Mason Lino with 3 for Trinity. Whilst the top meter maker he ran round the turnstile well, Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves, 218. The top tackle buster was Edwin Ipape of the Lee Leopards with 9. Whilst the most clean breaks came from Lachlan Walmsley of Trinity with 4. The most hard meters made, you've got to be a prop forward, second row loose forward in this one was KS Fatali with 171 for the Trin. Whilst the top tackler for the second week running was Oliver Partington of the Catalan Dragons, he got 54. And finally, with a perfect 9 from 9, the best goal-kicking performance of the weekend went to Arthur Morg of Hull KR. These were your top performers from Magic Round. 3, 2, 1. This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss Rugby League pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. Well, good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly, the week, of course, after Magic Weekend. Boys, memories?
I'm still recovering.
No, it's fantastic.
What a great weekend.
Fantastic.
What a weekend. We have had the best weekend with the Super League Raw community. If you weren't there with us, you should be next year. There you go, the QR code at the top of the screen. Let me tell you now, the members will be in the chat tonight telling you what a blast they had with Super League Raw. It was great to meet some wonderful people, Diane, Les, to name but two. They come to mind. We had a great weekend, boys, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, Dan and Leslie, they were following us around Newcastle everywhere we went. They were there. It was great. I was just saying, it was just a top weekend with some top people. I came away from that weekend. Warrington lost, clearly, but I came away from that weekend with a really lovely, nice, warm feeling deep inside. Real good fun. I think it's my most enjoyable Magic weekend to date, apart from your stag do, Dave, in Edinburgh.
Of course, that was a big one.
That was a highlight, yes.
Absolutely. Mick the Giants fan, Jim the Casford fan, like say Les Dayan, we had Lee the Wire fan, Chris and Jack the Saints fans. I mean, we just had an absolute shed load of them. It was absolutely wonderful. Mr. Sale, you were only there for the Saturday, but I think you got the vibe. It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to be there for any of it, but it was a great decision to come for the Saturday. Thank you to Bazza for getting some discounts on the train. But we always say the members make Super League Raw, and that came to fruition in tenfold this weekend for me. I was gutted I didn't make the Sunday. I wasn't there to witness the historic Huddersfield win. I'd have loved to have been there with celebrating with Mr. Roach and Ryan. But no, congratulations to Huddersfield. It was definitely the moment of magic.
Absolutely, and as expected, all the members are getting the comments in there. It's Carlos, good evening to Carla, Craig, Bazza, Greg. I can see them all in the chat. It was absolutely wonderful. Joel has just arrived. Here comes Mr. Scholes. Good evening, Joel. Big welcome as well to new members, Gemma Dorry, Mel Chapman, Adam Reeves, George Goodyear, Paul Smith, Glenn Kahn, 4-4. They're all flying in. Absolutely wonderful. Become a part of it. Get that QR code done. Mark's saying good evening to us as well. Unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable. Somebody's already done the QR code. We're going to Wembley. Over 20 of us now are going to Wembley. I think the latest count, and this is before people get to finals and then more people join us, which I'm sure will happen. We've already, even this is interesting. I think last year at Manchester we had between 20 and 25 people officially with us. We've matched that to Wembley this year. So that, again, shows how we're growing. Great laughs, great banter, different fans, mingling, taking the mickey, all in good spirit, all clean and good fun. I think Bazza on the final whistle summed it up perfectly in the fact that we had, mums with sons, dads with lads, couples. We just had every, people beyond 50. Sorry, Greg. People below 10. People below 15. We had everything. We had everything, and it was absolute great fun. So yeah, you really do want to make it happen. If you want a taster, this is what I'm going to do for you this evening. Join as an 18-man member, and for 1 month only, I will give you access to WhatsApp, and I'll give you access to the 2 shows that we do, so you can actually see what it's all about. Like I say, I'll cut that off after a month, but by then you'll want to upgrade to Team Talk or 6 again anyway. So for 1 night only, you've got to do it tonight. Get in that QR code. Well, I say tonight. I've got the podcast tomorrow. By close of business Wednesday, there you go. By close of business Wednesday, become an 18th-man member. I'm going to give you access to the 6 again for a month. Have a little go at it. Have a little try of it. Let me tell you now, you won't miss it. Honestly. For $4.99 a month, that's the middle tier. For the price of a latte, you ask these members, honest to God, they had a weekend like you wouldn't believe. Nobody's doing it like Super League Raw, and it's an absolute privilege as well. Good evening, Joel. How are you? Can't hear you, Joel. You're muted.
That would also help, wouldn't it?
There you go.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I do apologise. From 6 o'clock this morning until now, I have been non-stop, so I do apologise for being late.
No problem at all. Johnny Wilkinson also saying what an amazing weekend him and Helen had. It was absolutely incredible. Everybody saying hello to young Sammy. Wasn't Sammy the star of the weekend? All the members loved a bit of Sammy Holt, didn't they?
I got a great picture with Sam, so I'll be keeping that one definitely.
Yeah, Mark
Where
Hill's
were you at
panicking.
Culture Carnival yesterday, mate? I was looking out for you.
He was probably recovering, mate. I mean, Mark Hill's panicking that he's going to enter the mastermind competition next year, Sammy, because he absolutely trounced Mark Hill's knowledge of rugby league. And Mark won't mind me saying that. Mark thought he was an absolute legend, and he was. Right, look, we've harped on about this enough. Great offer for you. QR code's been on the screen all night. We do it bigger and better than anybody. We had a brilliant weekend. Come and join us. Become a part of this family. Become a part of the WhatsApp group. Right. We've done that wonderful stuff. Let's get into serious business. Action for Alpha. We're over £1,000, £1,155 and growing. Fantastic cause. The 18th of May is when Matty Timms and Kieran Sales are going to be doing that run for Alpha. As many members as possible get down to Manchester on the 18th of May to show your love and support to what Matty is doing. The GoFundMe page is still open. Again, you can watch this at your leisure once the show's over live. Donate by going on that QR code. Give as much money as you can for young Alfie. Of course, he's bravely battling a part of muscular dystrophy. We want to try and help the family to make some memories. You can become a part of that. It's what rugby league does incredibly well. So we would love you to do that. Right. It's going to be a bit of a different one tonight because of Magic, the production side of it. It's been a bit of a day, I don't mind telling you, but we're still going to have some great laughs and some great debate. And we're going to kick off straight away, and we put a teaser out on our Facebook page for this little beauty. Who's the coach of the month for April? It's down to 3, and those 3 are Matt P, Steve McNamara, and Adrian Lamb. Forget Magic. Magic was in May. This is about April, ladies and gentlemen. So before people start getting giddy, this is April. And as you can see there across the bottom, they are the teams that they beat. Before we I asked the lads who they will pick from these. Let's show some love, starting with Steve McNamara. Greg, it's fair to say that Steve had a great April, a slow start for Catalan, but they have been building momentum, and he had a brilliant April.
I think they had a fantastic April. Yeah, I think his was one of the names that kind of we spoke about as maybe under threat early doors. Met him on Saturday, lovely guy. A couple of signings have helped to bolster them. And I think, the way they've turned it around is commendable for Steve McNamara. He's really got hold of the troops. He's done a great job. He's done a great job with them, I think.
Yeah, for those listening on the podcast, Catalan beat Huddersfield away, Salford at home, and Wakefield Trinity at home. They were the 3 games that Catalan Dragons won. Joel, just because, of course, Adrian Lamb is Lee, we'll talk about Adrian Lamb with you. Lammy also getting 3 wins for the Lee Leopards in the month of April in Super League, sitting very comfortably in 3rd after a Magic round. They beat Castleford away, Warrington at home, and Salford away. Lammy having it better than he did in 2024, mate.
He certainly is, and he's a great coach. I think he's one of them guys that no matter who you put in his team, he's going to get the best out of them. And I think that speaks volumes as what type of coach someone is. Don't really matter who you're playing, as long as they're playing for the coach. And clearly the lads really love him because they all want to be playing for him. The signings that's been made. Of course, that isn't just Lamb, but he obviously has his input, and clearly he knows what he's doing. And I think that's his job for a very long time now.
Absolutely. A few people being a little bit cheeky in the chat saying that Paul Welland should get it. That's an absolute disgrace. Don't kick him out when he's down, for the Lord. Oh, my life. Anyway, a bit of love as well in there for Steve McNamara. Baz Kingston saying the amount of pressure he was under earlier in the season. He's done a sterling job. And then, Steph, we'll come to you last. Wigan Warriors have had a sensational April. There's no doubting that whatsoever. They started it off in grand style with that win at KR. Then, of course, they beat Saints on Good Friday and finished off with a very good win at Hull FC. Matt, Pete, Wigan coming up on the rails, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously having to go to both clubs, Hull clubs away as well, I think, wasn't he, in April. So we know how tough that is. And phenomenal win at KR. They've had a really, really good April.
Absolutely outstanding stuff. So let's decide who's getting it. Back in the chat, Nicola Burtonwood's gone Adrian Lamb. Isn't that a surprise? Good evening, Nick. Hope you're well. I'm sure you are. Lamb all day, says Paul Boardman. He's there. Dave, what about WP Willie Peters? They lost against Wigan, mate. They lost against Wigan.
You know, he lost the game against one of the contenders on the screen. That's why Willie Peters isn't there, Chief. Come on, stay up. This is Super League Raw. You're not watching another podcast that we won't mention. Steve McNamara's done very well. Lammy's there as well. Wellens. And actually, being missing me before we go down the lads on this one, to welcome new members. They've took up the option already. Here's marvellous. We've got Becky Hardy. Becky Hardy's took up the option of that membership. She's took it up this evening. Great to have you, Becky. I'll get all the stuff over to you. If not this evening, tomorrow. More people, of course, on the site as well at this moment in time. And also, when I get to the right page, here we go. Dear me, all exciting stuff this evening. Chris Webster, 6 again. Outstanding, great. Is it Chris or is it Claire? My apologies. It's Claire. Claire Webster, my apologies, a Hull KR fan.
I think that might have something to do with Bazza.
Maybe. Oh, that's marvellous. Well, yes, it will, actually. It will have something to do with
Claire is Bazza's missus.
Absolutely, yeah. My apologies. I'm getting that giddy. Yes, you're right. That is our Claire. Oliver Stokes, Hull KR as well, is in there as well. So we've got a few people joining as we speak. We'll keep giving shout outs. Come on, get your shout out, get joining. You know, it makes sense. Right, let's go through it. Greg, who would you give it to?
I will go for Matty Pete.
Yeah.
Simply because of the teams he's beaten. You know, there's been the others have had. I'm not going to say easy teams. I'd say easier teams than Matty Peters had to face. You know, he's gone away to Hull, as Steph rightly says, to both teams in Hull. Hull and KR were flying high. And they got the win there. They got a really good win against Hull away. When, you know, I think I tipped Hull to win that because of what they'd done to Wigan in the Challenge Cup. I'm going Matty Pete.
You're going Matty Pete?
Simply because of the teams that Wigan have come up against.
Yes, I'm just wondering, is that Oliver, our Oliver? It could be our Oliver. We'll get to that later. It could be something coming up a little bit in a few moments' time. It could be. Could that be little Ollie? We'll have to wait and see in a minute. Joel, who would you give it to, mate?
For me, it'd be between Steve Mack and Lamb. But because it's for April, I'd go with Lamb. If we did include the first week of May as well, then you'd be saying Steve Mack probably. But yeah, I've got to go with Adrian Lamb.
Okay, quite a lot of love here for Lamb, I have to say. Maybe it was because it was Easter. I don't know. Over to you, Mr. Sale. Who are you giving it to?
Yeah, before the KR fans get excited because he's not there, I'm going to make him actually a compliment and pick Matty Pete because of the teams that he's had to face, a bit like Reggie. To go to both Hull teams who have both been exceptional this season and winning Hull is a phenomenal effort. I think Lee and Catalan have showed some great form in April, but you've got to look at the opposition that's been faced. And I think any team that goes to KR and wins at KR, that's a phenomenal result for them with the way KR are playing at the moment. So Matty Pete is my choice.
Matty Pete is your choice, and Matty Pete is Super League Raw's choice. It's only right and it's only appropriate due to the teams that he faced. I mean, he went to a red-hot Robins and, won 28-12. Some exceptional tries that evening. Then, of course, Saints on Good Friday. And let's be fair, FC have been in great form. And it's solely down to the teams that he has faced. You've got to take that into account. Those on paper, Saints is always a tricky fixture for Wigan anyway, and he's took on two Hull sides that have been incredible form. So I think it's only right and only appropriate that Matty Pete gets it. I'm trusting that you're happy with that, boys.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think Lamb deserves a bit of credit as well because of the injuries Lee have faced. You know, having some key players out and still getting the victories, but like I said earlier, to go to both Hull clubs and win is a phenomenal effort.
Yes, absolutely, indeed. Wonderful stuff. Right, that is the coach of the month. It's now time to see who has got in the team of the month. Here it comes. Team of the month is sponsored by David Presley as Elvis. If you want your wedding all shook up, contact David Presley today. It is now time to announce the team of the month for April. And at full back will be the Wigan Warriors' Jai Field. He scored a try in every game, 4 in total, 1 assist, 11 busts, 2 clean breaks, 52 carries for an exceptional 326 metres. On the wing will be Wigan Warriors' Abbas Miski, also scored in every game, 4 tries in total, 24 busts, 2 breaks, 60 carries for 434 metres, 7.2 per carry.
In centre is Petter Hiku of the Robins. 2 tries, 2 assists, 2 breaks, 10 busts, 56 carries for 435 metres. Alongside him will be the Leeds Rhinos' Ash Handley. 2 tries, 1 assist, 7 busts, 51 tackles, 49 carries for 372 metres. On the wing will be the Warrington Wolves' Matty Ashton, scoring tries in every game, 3 against St Helens for 6, 6 breaks, 11 busts, 37 carries, 295 metres, 7.9 metres a carry. At standoff is Bevan French. 2 tries, 5 assists, 14 busts, 45 tackles, 39 carries, 107 metres. He got our man of the match in 2 of the 3 games. Our half-back will be scrum half, of course, sensation Lachlan Laverley Leopards. He got 2 assists in every game, 6 in total, 4 busts, 13 attacking kicks, 29 kicks in general play, 34 carries for 184 metres. At prop will be the Frenchman himself, Julien Bousquet of the Catalan Dragons. 2 tries, 3 offloads, 3 busts, 60 tackles, 41 carries for a bruising 388 metres. Alongside him at 9 will be Ben Garcia. 1 try, 2 assists, 7 busts, 116 tackles with an efficiency of 94%, 179 metres to boot. At 10 is Sam Walters, playing out of position throughout April, but what an April he has had. 135 tackles, 34 from marker, and 99% tackle efficiency. He's had 6 busts, 49 carries for 333 metres. In second row and keeping his place month on month is Junior Nsemba of the Wigan Warriors. 2 tries, 17 busts, 2 offloads, 108 tackles, 30 carries for 223 metres. Alongside him and also keeping his place month on month is James McDonnell of the Leeds Rhinos. 4 tries, 1 assist, 99 tackles, 9 busts, 28 carries for 159 metres. And finally at loose forward will be Elliot Minchella of Hull KR. 135 tackles, 24 from marker and 96% efficiency, 6 offloads, 42 carries, 233 metres. On the bench this month is Espiro Bichet, Jake Connor, Robbie Mulhern and Mike McMeekin. This is your team of the month for April.
So there you go, the team of the month for the month of April. Some surprises, I think, for some people in there. But hey, you know me, nothing left to chance. A lot of research has gone into that. I always stand by it every single month. I will stand by it again. Just take that off the screen whilst we're having a little chat, gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, there were some positions that were really, really tight. I think somebody in the chat mentioned Arthur Morg. To be honest with you, Espiro Bichet got in on the bench, but Morg was close as well. Couldn't pick 3 fullbacks in the team. That'd just be wrong. But yeah, Morg was good. Greg, I'll start with you as your top of the screen, mate. Your thoughts on the team of the month?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm good to see Abasmiski in there. I think he sometimes gets overlooked. Because, you know, you got your Marshalls in that team, and you got your Jay Field and your Bevan French, and he's done all right, saying he's playing with a strapped up leg. I think he's done all right. Matty Ashton, again, he was on 1 leg for most of April as well, scored 6 tries. I think Ben Curry of Warrington, showing my Warrington bias was a close nomination for, well, half-back, loose forward, second row, centre. He played in about 5 different positions throughout the month of April. But on the whole, and it's good to see some Catalan Dragons in there. And you know, we bumped into Mr. Bousquet on Saturday morning.
We did.
My word, what a big fella he is. He's bigger than you think, is Mr. Bousquet. But yeah, great to see some Dragons in there. I think McDonnell as well has had a fantastic April.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Steph, your thoughts?
Yeah, Jai Field's been outstanding, hasn't he, for Wigan? I think he's got a couple of man of the match performances in there, and like we said, the opposition that he's been playing against as well. I think that's why Jai's got the nod. Sam Walters as well. What a month he's had. Fantastic stats from him, putting some of those other forwards at Wigan to shame. So really pleased for him. And Ash Hanley as well. You know, we questioned that centre position, didn't we? You know, whether he would fit in there, and I think he's proven us all wrong at the moment in that centre position. I think he's doing a really good job for Leeds.
Yeah, Jake Connor, really, really close between him and Bevan French. Bevan just outperformed him. And again, what actually went against Jake was the fierce opposition that Bevan French actually came up against in that 3. That, again, went in his favour because he produced against 3 really, really top draw sides. Joel, your thoughts on the team, mate?
Yeah, there's some that you kind of expect to see: Bevan Frenchers, Lockie Lambs, Junior Nsemba, Elliot Minchella. But the 2 standouts for me has been Matty Ashton and Sam Walters. Just for the pure fact that, like with Matty Ashton first, he's been phenomenal. You know, in a team that's not maybe been doing as well over the past few weeks where they'd like to, he's really shown what kind of player he is, and he's a phenomenal player, and we can see that not from his finishing, but his positioning, everything. His off the ball stuff is incredible as well. So, you know, very impressed to see him playing so well. And then Sam Walters, I think, you know, people don't always realise that Wigan is a club of elites. For you to even get into the starting lineup is a success within itself. But for him to back it up week after week, it's been incredible. And you look at the amount of players that he's got around him in that position. He's got to fight, you know, and claw every single week to keep that position, and he's been absolutely immense.
Yes, he has. I completely agree with you. We've got Heaven. Is it Heaven who? I don't even know how he's saying.
Yahoo, I think.
Is that what it is? There is a podcast called The Robin Pod. If you want to see pure Robin's banter and chat, that's the place to go. This is a rugby league podcast. As you can see, Mr. Nixon is a Warrington fan. There's one Warrington player in the team, and rightly so. There's no Huddersfield Giants players in there. Surprise, surprise. People would say, well, hey, shows we're not biased. So come on, if you're gonna post, let's not be biased. This is a rugby league podcast. It will never, ever be 1 to 13 for any side ever in a million years. Right, people who watch us on a regular basis, you know what's going to come later in the show. One of those 1 to 13 will be the player of the month, not the bench, because they weren't good enough to start. So only the 1 to 13 have a chance of being voted the Super League Raw player of the month for April. We'll ask you later who it will be. Just make sure that you keep a note of your favourite player there. And when we ask you later, post it in the chat who you would give it to. Don't do it now because we're not going to be able to scroll all the way back through the chat. So later on when we ask, one of those 1 to 13 is your favourite, which one and why, we will ask you to put that in your chat a little bit later. One thing's for certain, there's some big contenders in that 1 to 13. So no catch up on the Goldthorpe and the Man of Steel tonight. Not have the chance to do that. That will come next week when we check in. Of course, that will include who the player of the round of the month was as well. Let's not forget that these men, everybody that you've seen on the screen now, get an additional 2 points in our player of the season because they were the best players of the month. The player of the month will get an additional 3 points. But who will that be? Right, it's now time to talk news, and we only talk news one way. We do it like this. Banging or hanging? Absolutely a little bit of banging and hanging. However, because it's a little bit different tonight, we're going to stay together, boys. We're going to stay together. But before we start, the QR code's on there. I did that special offer for 1 month only. Try before you buy the big ones. 18-man members will get 6 again. You'll be able to come on the podcast. You'll be able to see the shows that are behind the screen, but that will be taken away at the end of the month. So you've only got 1 month of that. Become an 18-man member, see what you're missing, or do what Claire did. She came at the weekend. She loves Super League Raw, and she is a 6 againer because she knows it makes sense. That's how good we are. There's the QR code. Right. Now then, we did an interview, me and the Red G. We did an interview. For those who watch the titles, you'll have seen this very special young man who we met at the Holiday Inn that we were staying at on night 1. A little lad called Oliver. Really, really nice kid. Now, before we do go into this, Oliver had some really bad news on Friday morning. By all accounts, at 11 years of age, he was told he wasn't going to be good enough to be a rugby league player and to move on, which me and Greg found absolutely shocking. Now, we didn't ask who it was. We didn't ask the team that he played for. All I know is an 11-year-old kid should be allowed to play rugby league and enjoy themselves. I mean, the vast majority of park players are not going to make it. It doesn't matter at 11 if he was good enough or not. He should be allowed to play rugby league. So me and Greg said, look, don't worry about that. Go and find yourself a team that loves you. But actually what we found out was that young Ollie works for BBC Humberside. He is a little roving reporter. So in order to, give him something to show BBC Humberside and to help him on his journalistic journey, we thought we would put a new little segment in. And that segment is all for Ollie. And what Ollie's going to do every week, because we really like the kid and we want to make sure that he understands what talent he's got and how far he'll go in life, we said that we would do a little segment called What Would Ollie Say? So here is young Ollie, his debut on Super League Raw, and then we'll debate what he's had to talk about. Here comes
This
the
is
little man.
what would Oliver say at Super League Raw. So I think that a very controversial decision went Leeds' way in the Leeds v St Helens match on Saturday night. I think that the Lewis Murphy yellow card should never have been a yellow card, and it should always have been a penalty tried to the Saints. I think that just because Lewis Murphy never saw the player coming up to him, and so he didn't take his eyes off the ball, he just tried to catch the ball, and then he jumped how he would normally jump. So then it went backwards off the Leeds arm, which made it play on. And then Mark Percival received the ball, and then he kicked it, and I think Harry Newman tripped him up, and that could have made it a penalty try, because I think Mark Percival could have got there in the end.
There you go. Ollie has spoken. So let's have a little chat about what Ollie's got to say there. The Lewis Murphy incident, gentlemen. Joel, you'll have seen this on the TV. Obviously, we saw it live in the stadium. What was your thoughts on the Lewis Murphy yellow card?
Well, first of all, well done, Ollie. Attention to detail there. That was cracking. Yeah, look forward to listening to that again. So if you're watching, Ollie, which I'm hoping you are, really well done, mate. That was fantastic. Well done. I think he makes a good point. Yeah, when especially when you've got people in them kind of positions, they tend to have their eye on the ball all the time, especially the best players, because they're the ones where you can save tries. It's where you can hold a man up and get him before the line and keep your defence solid. I think there has to be a bit of common sense coming in play. And we've said this before, haven't we? Common sense always should come to the fore. It's like when two people go up for the ball and somebody's elbowed somebody else in the face. We've seen it before. They get the very yellow card for it. Well, they're not meant to elbow them. They've just caught the ball in any way they can. So, yeah, I'm not sure what your guys' take on it was, but that for me, that's how I see it. And I think you can see on the cameras, especially when they slow it right down, you can see where he's looking. If he's looking at his man, fair enough. But if he's not, then I think Ollie should be a video ref. Well done.
Yeah, Kev Bowl there, straight in. And Greg Roach, he says, "Wow, excellent analysis." I mean, look, bottom line is, he's actually, I think Greg's right there, boys. You're on notice. If you don't put your ideas up, Ollie could replace you on this podcast. You know that, don't you? The boy's going far. Steph, Greg's already gone. He knows when he's beaten. Steph, look, I mean, you have a different opinion on this. You thought it was a yellow, didn't you?
I think it was a soft yellow, but I do think it was a yellow. Yeah. First things first, though, what a bit of analysis that was, and quite rightly putting us to shame. Who cares what we think when you've got Ollie coming up with that? So yeah, fantastic effort from the young man, and he's definitely got a slot on this show for as long as he wants it, I think. I just think in terms of we're saying it's a natural thing. I don't think it is natural. He does jump for the ball, and he is looking for the ball all the time. I've got no qualms with that whatsoever. I think what the video ref picked up on was he changed his leg, and actually it wasn't just a straight jump. He actually kind of kicks out, and I think that's what did him. It's a soft one. It is a soft one, but it could have been very dangerous. And I think just that slight movement that he makes it not just a penalty for me, and it was the right decision probably to yellow card him.
Greg?
Yeah, never mind us being nervous of Ollie here. I think John Wilkin and co are nervous after that excellent analysis by Ollie. Well done, kid. You did a brilliant job. Yeah, I think in the climate now, I think it is a soft yellow. And I agree with what Joel and Steph have both said. I just think the climate that we're in now with how decisions are going, how video refs are viewing things, how things are slowed down, I think I agree with Steph. It's a soft yellow, but I can understand why it was given.
Right.
If I'm being honest.
I get everybody's view on it. For me, probably wasn't as contentious as the one on the other side, where it was adjudged to have been a knock on, and Saints went over. That one for me, probably a little bit more so. But hey, love what Ollie had to say there. As far as Ollie's concerned, Saints should have had a penalty try. Who am I to argue with a journalist of that magnitude? I'm not going to do it. So Ollie, I'm with you, Chief, all the way. Right, we're going to stay on the screen together, but like I say, let's do what we normally do. Let's try and be brief and not over-egg a few of these points. First of all, then, we'll start off. Greg, you can go first on this one. Danny Walker, latest casualty at the wire. Would appear that this could be, certainly, they're hoping it's not going to be, but when you hear knee injury and no time specified as yet, this could be a big one for Warrington. And they've already had a couple of big ones, but this could be even bigger.
Yeah. I've rumours at 12 weeks minimum.
Yeah.
At first, it was. They said it was a thigh injury. Now it's gone to a knee injury. Which, when you're thinking no specified time, you're fearing the worst, aren't you? One of the ligaments in the knee has gone. Let's hope it's not the cruciate or the. I know all too well about those injuries. Got to feel sorry for that. I think he was playing out of position, covering for George Williams. He did a decent job, and to kind of have a possible trip to Wembley ruled out, keeping it brief. Got to feel the lad. It's a blow for Warrington, but it may well allow some of the younger kids to come through. I think we kind of found out on Sunday that maybe Geordie Crowther isn't the ideal replacement at hooker. Maybe Ben Hartle will come through. One of the kids will come through from the reserves. So there might be a silver lining for some of the younger players who might get given the chance by Mr. Burgess, who has said he likes to give young players an opportunity.
Yeah, in terms of, Bazza Kingston is in the chat talking about Dom Young. Dom Young, of course, said he can be released. He won't be coming here. He's off to, I think, Newcastle Knights, I think is what I'm hearing on that one. Oliver, it is Oliver who has joined the membership tonight, and he says, thank you. Not at all, Ollie, mate. Thank you for your contribution.
A pleasure, mate. A pleasure.
We will look forward to even more Ollie says, or what would Oliver say next week? You're an absolute gentleman, sir. You keep them coming, mate. Make sure your mum doesn't let us down. Remember, you've got to get in on a Monday. That is the rule. As long as you get in on a Monday, mate, you will be here. Don't you worry about that, my little mate. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Right. Okay, let's move on then at a pace. Let's go to something else. Joel, Chris Irwin resigns at Salford. Do you think that Sky performance might have had something to do with that?
Very possibly, yeah. That was really. Do you know what I really felt for him? I did feel for him when he had to give that interview. I were cringing in parts.
Yeah,
I was really cringing, and I thought he's gonna. You could kind of think that he was having to really think every word that he said, because it was almost like feeding the lamb to the wolves, wasn't it? And that's not helped. I think he was as honest as he could be, and unfortunately, in this type of game and sport, when you view or voice opinions or say certain things, if the fans are on your back, the club can be and will be. And clearly, they've now parted ways, which is a shame. But this is how it's going at Salford at the moment, unfortunately.
Yes, it is. Just more in there. I can see the members self-policing. No swearing on Super League Raw. Our friend from KR is having a bit of a shocker at the moment. Need to sort it out, or you will be removed. So be warned. We've given you the warning there. No swearing anymore, and I'm afraid you will be removed from the show. I do apologise. Well, I don't actually, because we like to keep it clean. Certainly not apologising. Right, okay, we move it on to the next one. Right, I think we can all have a bit of a say on this. But Steph, you've not been in yet. World Club Challenge Take 2. It's been rumoured that, of course, the conventional World Club Challenge will take place at the start of next season, and then Take 2, which we've been calling for years, because both Southern and Northern Hemispheres will finish at the same time for the World Cup. They're going to try and slide in a World Club Challenge. Now, would this be allowed? Would the international coaches be happy or not?
I'm not sure what the thoughts would be on it, to be honest with you. I'll give my opinion based on for the benefit of the game. If we're having a World Cup over there, what better way to get people going over, especially if we've got an English team in a World Cup challenge, that's going to, get the fan base going over as well. And it's kind of like, not a curtain raiser because that does disservice to the World Cup challenge, but I'd probably say what a build-up it would be for the World Cup to have that game just as a prelude to going into that World Cup. I think it would be phenomenal. And we always want to see the players from the team that's won it, obviously, to get people leaving the year you win it when it goes into the next season. So it would be great to see a World Cup challenge with all the players who've just won the grand final.
And I completely agree with what Craig Forth said there. He's linked in. Greg, you've said this all the time. It will be the same teams that win the 2 grand finals that will contest the World Club Challenge, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, we've called for this for a while on this show. I think since we started doing this, that there's no reason why this World Club Challenge can't take place 2 or 3 weeks after both grand finals are concluded. I think this year both grand finals are on the same day. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Well, it's the same weekend, yeah.
Yeah, same weekend. So yeah, they're a bit in front of us. Yeah. The hands. I agree with Steph. Yeah, it's fantastic. Maybe in future this could be a Las Vegas type event. I don't know. We'll have to see towards at the back end of the season rather than the beginning of the season. But that's for future. That's for people to talk about in the future. But I'm delighted that if this goes ahead, that we finally get, as I think Craig put in the chat, we get the squads from those seasons that go battle it out against one another, and not change teams, different players who haven't been with those respective clubs and won those respective titles. That's a true battle of the champions, I think.
Go on, Steph.
Yeah, I was just saying they've earned the opportunity to play in that World Cup.
100%.
Yeah. So that's the big thing for me. The players get that opportunity.
Yeah, it's not the ones that they sign. It's not the ones that they sign who have a bath. It's the ones that they lose that move on to pastures new. And
exactly, yeah.
They're the ones you've got to feel sorry for, without doubt. Right, good stuff. Right, let's get. I put on the graphic for tonight's show. What can we learn from Magic? Well, what we learned is that the Super League Raw community was the greatest community in the stadium, but none. But apart from that, what else do we actually learn about Magic? Right, let's go here, shall we? Joel, you were watching it on the telly. We were getting frustrated in the stadium. Video referees. Are they ruining the game? Are they turning? I mean, again, if you're going to bring an audience to rugby league, whether it be on the TV or live in stadiums, I mean, there's a lot of people who are getting a little bit fed up with how long the video refs are taking. And I know that Darryl Powell came out. I think Luke Robinson came out after the game. So did Danny McGuire. I think they were all chipping in that it's just too long. They're messing about. We need to adopt, surely, the bunker system from Australia.
We do. And I think that is the only way it's going to work, because before this, there was talkings of why a decision's made so quickly. Why aren't they reviewing it properly and making sure that the decisions are right? Now we're reviewing it properly, making the decisions are right. We're not happy because it's taking so long. So yeah, having the bunker coming in would be great. I think for the ones where you've got a tough view, the referee's clearly not seeing it properly. He doesn't know for sure, and you've got tight angles, loads of bodies in. Fair enough, you get it why they might take some time. But for those that are straight forward tries, we've seen that it's not a knockout. We've seen that it's this, that, other, and then they go to the grounding. My word, it's just ridiculous. Now the second it goes to the grounding, we know it's a try. Silly build-up that you get beforehand, them graphics that they put together. There's no need. They just need to revamp how they do it, and I think they need to look at it and see what is deserving of a video ref. And I think for something that's straightforward that the ref should get, they shouldn't be allowed to send it up to the video ref, I believe. Because otherwise, what have you got your referee for? Because currently, as we know, they're sending it up to the video ref for everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might have been Liam Rush. I can't remember. I think one of them was ridiculous. I think everyone went, even the ones that were obviously tries were going up. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the thing about the bunker stuff in Australia is that, if the referee should give a try. None of this nonsense. If a referee is going to do that, give the try, because the video ref will have 2 minutes. 2 minutes from the try being scored to that kick being kicked, because we both know all kickers wait a minute. They always call time off because they've got a minute after the try for to get themselves into position. Then it's called off, and by that point, sometimes the ball hasn't even been placed. So they've got 2 minutes to one way or the other call it. Exactly like Australia. This needs to happen, and it needs to happen quick.
Yeah, and I think that's the real quick win for us. If you're going to go up as a try, then just award the try. You've got that time to review it. Then the video refs can do that, and it just comes up confirmed. Or then they stop the game to say we need to actually have a look at this further. That would speed up, the game loads straight away. But I do think some of the people in the chat pointed it as well. There needs to be a shot clock on the video refs to make a decision, because it feels like they go back and forth, look at the same angles. I lost count at the weekend how many times I went, that's a try, or that is clearly not a try. But yet we have to look at another angle to prove that it wasn't a try that we've already proven. It's just stupid. If you can see a reason why it's not a try, why do you need to look at another angle? Because you've already seen it's not one.
You've seen it is one.
It's one. Yeah, exactly. And every time that I was shouting at the TV, I was right. That's the eventual one thing. So they just need to look at what Australia are doing. I get what people are saying about the cameras as well. Unfortunately, that comes with extra cost, which we've probably not got the funding for with Sky at the moment. But yeah, if we could improve the cameras, I think that would make a big difference. But obviously, we've got to look at finances with that as well. But yeah, let's just bring the bunker in.
People who played the game, going back to Ollie's point, Greg, people who played the game said that they believed that the Murphy one wasn't. George Williams, I think, on the bench said it as well. And if you haven't watched the bench, that's a really good episode this week, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
But George Williams said he didn't think that was a yellow card for Murphy. Danny Maguire says that the game's too slow. Why should there be interchanges? They probably don't need as many interchanges now because they're having that much of a rest, is what Danny Maguire said, which again I thought was a really good point. And just as a final one, you can wrap all this up. Are referees obligated by Sky to use the video ref for the advertising? It makes you wonder.
Well, I've seen that in the chat, and it does make you wonder. For me, get rid of the try on try. Get rid of the on-field decision. If you've got to send it up, I'm unsighted, or I'm not sure, or can you just check? And I hate to say this, but Union do this so much better. The NRL do this so much better. Because it goes up as a try, video refs are trying to see reasons why they should give it as a try and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of try, no try. It automatically speeds the system up, but I'm agreeing with anybody else. Get the bunker system in. Get non-referees in the bunker. Because I think there's been a lot of accusations, especially with Captain's Challenge, that these guys are supporting the mates and don't want to be seen to go against the mates unless it's glaringly obvious. So get non-referees in the bunker. And another thing I would stop is this second refereeing that's going on that has resulted in so many yellow and red cards. If the referee doesn't see it on the pitch, the video referee shouldn't interfere unless the video referee sends it up for a decision. That's my opinion on that as well.
Fun, Dabby.
Cards.
Fun, Dabby knows. Well, we've got plenty of other things to discuss. Let's not get through it all in one go, sir. You just allow me to conduct the orchestra for a moment, if you don't mind. And actually, Sam Kennedy, a Wakefield Trinity fan, come on the train, has just joined Super League Raw. And Gary Hutchinson as well. Gary is another Hull KR fan. Outstanding. More and more joining. Just to repeat, for tonight only. Join using that QR code as an 18th man. So we're going 6 again anyway, because they want to be a part of the community. They want the WhatsApp group. They want Captain's Run. They want Round Unpack. They want to come on the Final Whistle podcast. They want to be in grounds with the Super League Raw community, sharing lifts and all that good stuff. Do you want to be too? This is the place to be. Nobody's doing it like Super League Raw are. We are both ways. Other podcasts, it's all at you. We are a community. We don't live together, but we could do one day if we got a house big enough, gentlemen. Anyway, that's another story. We come remember do the QR code.
When of a certain age, sir.
It makes sense. Outstanding. Great to have so many people joining us this evening. It could be a record night. Anyway, right, where we're going to go next? Let's go. I'll tell you where we're going to go next. Right, we've talked about the referees. I want to show the referees a little bit of love. Is the match review panel hanging the officials out to dry? Now, this week, we've just said, we've been just criticising the referees for not making decisions. Some decisions were made this weekend, and the match review panel have made those referees look daft. I mean, there's some that have been deemed as on-field sufficient, no further action, which really caught me by surprise, I have to say. Are they causing them a problem, Joel?
Absolutely. Just based off alone the Huddersfield game, and that's the one. Oh, it's infuriating.
Keep it clean, sir. Keep it clean. Take a breath.
It's infuriating. I'm one for, if someone's done something, regardless who it is, they should be penalised for it, and heavily if it's bad. If there's contact to the head and you get a red card, you should be penalised heavily for it. It's totally against the rules. The players know that, especially, and this is what really gets me, especially when it's the play straight after you've just smacked someone in the chops and then gone down again. So you've also then got to look at the intent. So how you can get away with getting absolutely nothing, it just baffles me.
Yeah. It baffles. I mean, look, let's go to the blindingly obvious one here, and that's the night one.
Yeah.
Now, people say that the contact was with the chest, and Huey bounced up. And actually, do you know what, Joel? I've got a degree of sympathy. However, there was intent. He puts the shoulder in. His shoulder moves. His shoulder goes. There was an intent there. Head explosion. For me, Knight was fortunate that he actually hit his chest, because I think when a player goes into collision and the shoulder comes round, and it did, that for me is intent. I'm amazed he got away with that. Now, I know it's your team, so I'm not going to put you on the spot, because I'm sure you agree with me. So I'm going to go to neutrals who weren't your team on this one. Greg, your take on it. Was Knight a lucky boy?
Very. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
And that game was bubbling. We turned around at half time. We said there's more cards in this. Luckily, there wasn't. It was bubbling. They were both out for more than just playing rugby, those two teams. Whatever the beef was between them, it started early. It carried on. I think the referee should have turned around to them and said, just take the tap, to Huddersfield when he gave the penalty for that brawl. And, we all said, well, was somebody kicked while they were on the ground as well, which they didn't show on the replays in the stadium. So I can't comment on that. The referee should have said, take a tap and kick it into touch, and we'll all go in and have a calm down at halftime. But he's a very, very lucky boy. And this goes back to, yes, we're all happy happier that they've changed the system around, and they've maybe listened to rugby league fans, and now it's a different system. It's a point system. But I've argued for a while that we should bring in, and I know Steph doesn't quite agree. Steph doesn't agree with me on this one. I don't think, we've kind of had conversations about this, that, there should be a point system for the card you receive. You get a red card, it's an automatic 1-game ban. You get 2 red cards in a season, it's 2 games, etc. You get a yellow card, it's a point. You get up to 5 points and you get an automatic 1-game ban. I think that is clearer for people to understand, because at the minute, I don't know where we are, to be honest, at the minute. That night challenge is a bad one, and it could have been a lot worse. He was out to kill on that tackle. He really was. He really was. The red mist. The red mist had descended, mate. The red mist had descended.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would go for a point system for the card that you receive.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring Steph in. Steph, just a quick one on Knight. Was he lucky? Was he not? But also, I think what we saw as well from the disciplinary panel in the stadium, it felt like Hull FC were milking some crushers. It felt that way because they were trying to even it up. You watched it on the box. Did you have the same feeling? Did that creep in, do you think?
Yeah, that's a real bugbear of mine, and I think you'll notice it. And I'd encourage anybody to watch out for this as well, because it may go a bit unnoticed. But if you watch when a team gets somebody sent off, more than likely within the next 10, 15 minutes, the opposition team who've been victim of that will then try and feign a crusher tackle to try and get a yellow card to even it up. It's happened so many times this season, and it makes a mockery of the ones that are getting genuine crusher tackles as well. And it's a real frustration of mine, that, because we're a proud sport of men who try really hard, and women as well in the women's game. We don't need stuff like that. And it's a very difficult thing to prove as well, but you can just tell it is. On the Liam Knight thing, what I would say with that is he does not attempt to wrap his arms whatsoever. It's a shoulder charge, which is obviously an outlawed thing. And then he makes contact with the head as well with his shoulder in a turning motion. It's a red card all day. I've seen someone mention about the Hull one, which the Giants, I think it was Tom Burgess, I think he's referring to, hit on Asiata.
Yeah.
Big difference with that was Tom Burgess wasn't late in that tackle. It was a shoulder charge. It wasn't contact with the head. It was a yellow card all day long. But a lot of people thought it was for the late hit. It wasn't late at all. It was a perfectly timed tackle. It was just an outlaw tackle, which was the shoulder charge. So
what a great chat, gentlemen. A great chat. On the topic of Asiata, let's just quickly go there. If I'm Hull FC, I'm very concerned if Asiata picks up or not, because they were a completely different side when he was off that field from an attacking standpoint. I mean, I was sat next to Jono, and I kept saying to Jono, just watch Asiata, Jono. Every time he's first receiver, virtually every play of the ball, he's dictating the play. And he was throughout, and then he went off, and it was either going to Cust or Caesar first. And the whole dynamic changed. So if I'm Hull FC, I'm telling you now, you need Johnny Asiata, in good fettle in order to really stay in those top 6 positions. Because at this moment in time, you're falling like a stone. But that's by the by. Right. Let's, again, what else have we learned from Magic? And I put here on the buses a Magic farce. We heard on Final Whistle Jill all the way from Montreal. Yes, we're an international fan club here at Super League One. And she said, about the stadium looking a little bit empty. And then you hear that, buses were arriving for the Warrington game as the Huddersfield game was already playing. That actually, for the Hull KR bus turned up at 7:30 before the Leeds game kicked off. I mean, that's a major own goal. As a sport, I mean, surely the buses have got to get them there for the first game and then leave after the last game to entice more people to remain in the ground. Can you believe that the clubs are allowing that to happen?
Well, that's what they did when Magic pretty much first started, and when it was I remember when it was at the Etihad, they had people, they made people get there early, and if you'd missed it, you had to wait till the game had ended for you to get into the next one, because it was quite regimented how they did it. But they were very strict on that you had to be there for a certain time for it to be open for your ticket to allow you in. So it's like they've got quite relaxed over the years with that.
Yeah.
Because early on it was you bought the ticket for the weekend or the day.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They've got to be better than that. Hello to Mike McKay. He's the new member at Super League Raw. They're coming in this evening. They're loving it. Maybe they were hearing us singing. Maybe they saw all the jovial fun that we had at Magic Weekend. Oh, yes. FOMO, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're seeing tonight. You need to become a part of Super League Raw. Nobody does a podcast like Super League Raw. Absolutely no one. Right, okie dokie. Where are we going to go next? We're going to go, I'll tell you where we're going to go next. Oh, this is a belter. Let's go here. Is Will Price the new Jake Connor? Discuss. Because let's be fair, he was jumping like a gazelle. He was in the face of the officials. He was, he was all over it in terms of trying to manage the game. Neither you nor Steph were in the stadium. I don't know if he got picked up on Sky, but Greg, you were there. Greg, it was embarrassing.
He was a little bit, and somebody's put in the chat that they missed him throwing the head into somebody as well. And I think it was when that brawl was going on. Yeah. I think he's that desperate to kind of make an impression because, let's face it, he hasn't had the greatest start to his career. Yeah, I think he needs to calm down. I'm not so sure he's the new Jake Connor, although Jake Connor has calmed down a hell of a lot. And a lot, I think that a lot of that is down to Brad Arthur, as I said last week, I think he's turned around and said, Jake, you just do your own thing, mate. I'm not going to coach you. You do your own thing.
Yeah.
I think he's got to calm down. He needs to settle in. He needs to find his game and then I think he will calm down. I think he's too busy trying to make himself known because of the expectation that's come with him. Maybe I'm being kind, but I like to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, what I saw on the TV was, which you might not have seen, because he had the camera plumb on his face. He was, and I can't remember who he said it to, but he was saying to one of our lot, he says, "You're gone, you're gone." Well, referee's still trying to make a decision. He said, "You're off, mate," and he's getting into his face and saying, "You're off, you're gone, you're gone." He just needs to chill out, doesn't he?
He just needs to just relax a little bit.
He
Just
needs to
relax a
sit
little
next
bit.
to you at Huddersfield game, Joel.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Very quick one on this. I'll go to you on this one, Steph. Catalan recalled Desiree today. That's a blow for the Tigers. I would say. Desiree's a big unit. Yes, Amon's come in, but they could have done with keeping him around for a bit longer, couldn't they?
They could, but I thought he was really disappointing in that Wakefield game. I mean, Castleford overall.
Most of them were, mate.
You jumped in just as I was about to say that. Most of the Cast side were disappointed in that game, and I think even the Cast fans will acknowledge that. But yeah, I thought him particularly had a few moments in that game that stood out to me. Anyway, I picked up on it. I don't think he had his best game. I'd be interested. Have they got an injury? Is it Garcia? Has Garcia got injured?
I don't know, mate. I don't
know.
know.
I'm sure I've seen. Yeah, I think Garcia may be injured, which is maybe why they've recalled him. Obviously for that big Challenge Cup game against KR coming up this week.
Greg Roach supporting young Will, saying that the Giants players were winding him up when Leroy skinned him. Oh yes, it was like watching Crocodile Dundee. Oh yes, he skinned him beautifully. Good old Leroy. Could you? You can't beat a bit of Leroy now, can you? Right, let's. We're gonna have to start wrapping this one up in a minute. Where we're gonna go now? We'll leave that one to last. Let's just give a little shout out to Toulouse Olympic. Massive upset in the championship. 32-0 win over the league leaders Halifax Panthers. That was a big score. Toulouse rumoured to be caught in coming back to Super League. That was a big step in the right direction for them, gentlemen. Who wants to go on that?
Yeah, I mean, Halifax have been flying in the championship this year, haven't they? They've had some really, really good wins. But for any team to put 32 on Halifax, the way they've been playing at the moment, is a tremendous effort from Toulouse. But we see it quite a bit, don't we, in rugby league? Even the best sides, and that's a lesson to some of the best sides in Super League. It can happen to anybody. You know, you don't turn up, you get a good hiding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Outstanding stuff. And then finally, there is no cucumber sandwiches tonight because we haven't got the time, because obviously we've got lots to get through. However, it'd be rude not to just have a little giggle as our friends so we're not going to do the old, intro, but gentlemen, Matt Duffy got 2 points.
His turnstile impression.
I think that was for the number of one-on-one tackles he missed.
Yeah, he got one
Points
for
each.
Absolutely. And Rapana got a point in the All FC Huddersfield game. Did anybody see Jordan Rapana get a point?
He was the one that lost the game for him, if anything, that I saw.
Wow. Yeah. So
he was
anyway,
awful, Rapana. He was awful.
We haven't given it the belts and whistles this week because actually, to be fair, they weren't that bad. They were the two glaring ones where you looked at them and you thought, are you having a giggle?
How does Matt? I can understand because he set up. He made some good runs. He made some good yardage, as you've said. He made most meters, but
he did make most meters.
As the last line of defence,
shocking.
He was shocking.
So basically, what we're saying is that Fulis, who scored 2, Roderick Tai, who was again knocking
tackling
people.
machine.
Yeah, left.
Ollie
right,
Leyland, who put December on his backside.
Ollie Leyland, who had a great defensive game against the big fella. There's no doubt about that. And then you look at the Wigan team. Let's level this up a little bit. Luke Thompson.
Yeah.
For me. Better than Duffy. Thompson had a good game.
Who got 3 in that game? Just as a matter of interest.
Field got 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, Field got 3. Yeah, Field got 3.
Evan French was better than Duffy.
French got 1 from him. But like I say, you look down the list. I thought Thompson was worthy of points over. I mean, even on a Warrington team, Fulis was worthy of more points. Vaughan probably was.
Both Fulis, to be honest.
Yeah, Duffy for me. Didn't cover himself in glory, mate, did he? That's a bit of a shocker.
It's not a bit, it's a lot.
Yeah. Not your best shout, Albert Goldthorpe, but you keep doing it. You keep giving us ammunition, and we keep on firing the bullets. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, there you are. Keep going that QR code. It makes sense. Remember, for 48 hours, if you sign up at the lowest tier, just £2.99 a month, you can come and sample this wonderful community. You want to do it, and it makes sense, right? Because I've used so much of my electricity, AE, with my mouth, I'm going to have a little rest. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass over now to Mr. Nixon, who is back with his report.
Okay, quite a short one this week. Just a preview of the Challenge Cup. The semi-finals are coming up this weekend as well. So Wigan play Leeds in York at noon on Saturday, and Saints are at home. Work that one out. To York at 1:45 p.m. on Sunday. Jodie Cunningham, she should be back. She'll be fit for the game. She missed the quarter-final against London Broncos. Not that it did Saints any harm at all. She got a really nasty arm injury against Barrow and had to come off after 15 minutes. Saints are hoping to welcome back Darcy Stott, Naomi Williams and Rachel Woozy. They all missed the Broncos game, but again, that didn't have much an effect on the Saints team, who are, back in the groove from week one, really. They're a great side. For York, some bad news for York. They've lost loose forward Megan Pakulis this week, and she's gone to the Gold Coast Titans. So she's played the last game for the club. Couldn't be any worse timing, really, with the semi-final coming up. Prop Jess Sharp could also miss a game. She's received a red card against Lee. So disciplinary panel tonight might seal her fate. So we'll wait on that one. Saints prop, Georgia Sutherland, she's predicting a bit of a bloodbath, a blood and thunder game, she said when she was interviewed earlier this week. She's on 5 form, Georgia Sutherland. She's got 5 tries already this year. She's already scored against her old club, Warrington Wolves. She's one to watch out for, Georgia Sutherland. She's a great player. Meanwhile, for Wigan, Dennis Betts, he's labelled his team as a young, exciting and a fearless team ahead of their clash with the Rhinos. And, he's hoping it's going to be third time lucky. They've lost to the Rhinos in the last 2 semi-finals. And I, for one, am not going to bet against them this time. I'm predicting that, this could be a Saints-Wigan final at Wembley this year, and that would be great for the game. The Warriors' run to this year's final, it's been relatively straightforward. They've not really had a test. They've got 3 from 3 in the group stages. They scored 128 points, I think, without reply, if I'm not too wrong on that one, against Barrow and London, respectively. So, I quite fancy the Warriors to win that one. Meanwhile, for the Rhinos, Shannon Lacey needs one more appearance to rock up 50 games for the club. She's been a stalwart. I think she's been there since kind of day one of the Leeds Rhinos Women's Rugby League team there. Away from the Challenge Cup, down a division, Swinton Lionesses. They've been doing so well in the Championship. They've appointed former Wigan man John Worley as their head coach. There's been a couple of weeks of turmoil there at the club. Some players have left, so let's hope he gets them back on an even keel. And they've got a cup final coming up against Salford, so best luck to both of those teams in that one. And finally, from me, the first Women's State of Origin. Oh my God! If you've not watched Women's State of Origin, please watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. The standard of rugby league is absolutely incredible, and it's great to see that it was free to air. The game was free to air in Australia, and it attracted 941,000 viewers. To the live game. So it was a great crowd as well. So that's absolutely fantastic to say. And let's hope that, people in this country, rugby league fans in this country, start getting behind the sport, because it is a fantastic spectacle. And that's it for me this week. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, sir. Very well done. As always, nice little Nixon report there for your viewing pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, can we have a hallelujah for Origin Women? Hallelujah, baby. An incredible game of rugby league football.
941,000.
I know, just 1,000 behind us. They're doing well. They're doing very, very well indeed. They're only 1,000 behind us. Hey, I'd take that all day long. Incredible stuff. We're doing well. Right, it's that moment of the week. Joel's strapped in. Greg Roach is ready. Mr. Nixon, you're ready. Steph, I'm a cunning linguist. It is now time for the team.
Team of the week is sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for Magic Round 2025 with the good estate agent. Here we go again. A fullback is Jai Field. Ever wondered what a slalom skier would look like on a rugby pitch? Well, then wonder no more. Some beautiful weaving runs once more from Field, but Alberto Tomba, to shame. Talk about a gold standard. At 2 is Jake Fulis, just like a spoonful of sugar. His 2 tries help the Wire in the most delightful way to put fear in the hearts of the Warriors. You could say he was supercalifragilistic. You know where I'm going with that one. At 3, forget Petter, more like Petri Hiku, as this performance was once more a bit of a dish, wasn't it? This effort was not microscopic, it was chromoscopic on the retina. At 4 is Adam Kieran, who not only provided the goals that were decisive, but also that Matt Duffy could be considered a beef stew in a tackle. He just was not strong enough. At 5 is Lachlan Walmsley of Wakefield Trinity, who produced a display as delightful as sipping cocktails on the beach on a summer's evening. For the Tigers, it was a little bit whiskey sour, but for the Trin, it was as smooth and as creamy as a strawberry daiquiri. Chin chin! At 6 is Jake Connor of the Leeds Rhinos. For too long, Jake has been like a broken pencil, pointless, but this year he's like Charles Dickens' quill, producing some elegant strokes and providing the Rhinos faithful with great expectations. At 7 is Mason Lino, who led his hands, not shoulders, through the talking this week. You have to feel for Danny Maguire, as it must have felt like he had a bladder infection, as when Lino is on this form, you're in trouble. At 8, and on debut for the Leopards and Team of the Week is Joe Offengower, who appears monstrous on first showing. The man known as Joffa should not be mistaken for a Jaffa cake, as his tackles are far from sweet and soft. At 9 is the man who is a cross between a sheep and a car, Zach Wolford. You better believe it, folks, his runs from dummy half were looming marvellous, and his tackles would have wrote off any Mondeo. At 10 is Caius Fatale of Wakefield Trinity, whose try was as hot and as tasty as a sizzling plate of the finest steak. Speaking of fajitas, he rounded Tex as easy as breaking in to a crunchy taco. You Barretto, believe it. At 11 is Morgan Gannon of the Leeds Rhinos, who was NRL-esque versus the Saints. Just like Gammon, Gannon's presentation was well-rounded, was accompanied with a fine, luxurious, yolky try, but was just a little too salty on the Saints' palate. At 12 is Ethan O'Neill of the Lee Leopards. He can play rugby standing on his head, you know. Just like a newborn baby in a topless bar, it must be confusing playing against such a tremendous talent for any opposition. And finally, at 13 is Leroy Cudjoe, who just like Leroy Brown in Crocodile Dundee 2 has a reputation to protect. He needn't worry, as just like a man who has his left side cut off, he's all right, is our Leroy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Team of the Week for round number 10, Magic Round.
So there you go. It's in the record books yet again. Another Team of the Week comes and goes. Mr. Scholes, happy with that one, sir?
Yeah, ecstatic, yeah. Brilliant. Not strong enough. I like that. That was a good one.
Yeah, did you like that? That was a good one.
That-
I did like that one.
Probably one of my favourites, yeah.
Yes, happy days indeed. Mr. Dixon, any comments from you, sir?
Not sure about a baby in a topless bar. That's got me thinking things I shouldn't think.
Absolutely. just on the right side, where the kids are
It's
concerned.
good to see some Wakefield players in there.
Yes.
I thought you're right about Gannon. Good to see Jake Thulis. I thought Kieran was great for Wigan. He sat Duffy down big style. Mr. McGilvray, brilliant performance. I thought he was outstanding. Actually, he was outstanding.
Yeah, good Joe. Yeah,
Good Joe. Put it on McGilvray.
Good Joe. Yeah, you've got Freddie on your mind,
I've
mate.
got Freddie on my mind.
Freddie on your mind. That's what it is. Your new big fellow up front looked a unit. Stefan is in team of the week. Second highest meters, only behind Fatale. I thought he had a very, very strong game and can only get better.
Yeah, really solid debut from Joffre. Obviously, it takes a bit of time. Only off the plane a week ago. And I thought he was really impressive on debut, and hopefully he'll just get better and better for Lee. Lachlan Walmsley, I thought was outstanding for Wakefield, and I know we give the 3 points to Telly, but I thought Mason Leno had the best game I've seen this season in a Wakefield shirt. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Some of the passing, the accuracy of his passing, I think he got 3 assists in the game as well, was unbelievable from Leno. He was absolutely outstanding, and great to see Thulis outshining his older brother. Is it? Getting the 2 tries. Probably, most impressive that for Wire, given the players that they had out to compete with Wigan and get it to within 2 points. I thought was an outstanding performance from Warrington, and obviously it sets up that Challenge Cup semi-final next week. I don't think you've got any excuses now, boys, given what you've just done to that.
Well, it's going to be. They've got to back it up, mate. It's going to be interesting.
But got to back it up. You're right.
You've got to back it up. If they back it up, it'll be a great game. No doubt about that whatsoever. Hull KR fan on about Flanagan. You're right. He was second only to Field. I think when you look at what Field did in that game in terms of his tries and assists, don't get me wrong, Flanagan was excellent throughout. As to Bichet, and he got a couple of try saves in there as well. I was that close to giving it to Mr. Flanagan at fullback, but. We're not biased here at Super League Raw, and as much as Mr. Field, for me, can jog on, he does deserve to be in that team. We call it straight down the line, and it'd be wrong for us to go off that page without paying tribute to Morgan Gannon, who I thought was absolutely superb against the Saints for the Rhinos. He is getting better and better, and looking forward to seeing him fly the flag in the NRL alongside the other boys next year. I think he will do very, very well. We haven't done many this week because of time, but we are going to do it.
Give your head a wobble.
Yes, give your head a wobble. Here we go. Like I say, for the interest of time, we're going to have to race through it a little bit. But yeah, to be fair, actually, not bad this week. I think a few of the key, maybe fans are becoming self-policed. Maybe they're getting wind of Super League Raw, give your head a wobble, and they're actually reining it in. I don't know, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would. That said, Dave Smith, the Hull FC fan, did say that he felt that Huddersfield is the worst team he's ever seen. Don't know what that says about your own, mate. What are you doing there? Oh, that's not very good, is it? Really? Come on. I thought Huddersfield were bang at it, and I think that put a bit of pressure on your boys, and quite frankly, they had a shocker, son. Great effort, though. Oh, we've got a QR code there. Just at the very mention of Huddersfield, Joel, we get somebody doing the QR code. Could it be a Cowbell Army? Who knows? Hopefully that's another member, because we've already just had Nigel Wood sign up. Oh, yes. Welcome to the family. Nigel, it's great to have you here.
The right. Nigel Wood.
Oh, yeah.
It is the Nigel Wood, Nigel.
Big Nige. That's an endorsement, isn't it?
Let's see how long it stays, if it is. But actually, hey, we know, boys, we call it straight. We have great fun, but we are fair. I love the bones of you. We are what we are, and we're good. Right, okay. You got to go to Saints. You had to go to Saints. We could not go to Saints. Right, where are we going to go? I mean, Sean, mate, what are you doing here, Sean? Sean Jenkins, 10 games in, and I'm already wanting the season to be over. Wow. In a dogfight for a playoff position. Look at poor Joel down there. Look at Castleford. Look at Salford. You're still in with a chance, man, and you already want the season to be over. We'll get behind it. It's unbelievable, mate. It's unbelievable. Now, what we do know about our Saints fans, and Saints, people say, oh, we don't like Saints. Actually, the amount of praise me and Greg gave Saints during your 4 in a row was unbelievable. The same way that we give praise to Hull KR now and to Wigan. When we see good rugby league football, we call it out for what it is. I mean, some sensational tries at the weekend. Riley Lumser, oh yes, super, wonderful try. Oh yes, there was plenty of that on the day, wasn't there? Plenty of that on the day. So we call it absolutely straight. But what we do know about our friends at Saints is they've been telling Wellens what to do. And every time they told Wellens what to do, they then told him to do the opposite. And then you get this one, which, don't get me wrong, it was a shocker, a shocking team selection. Lomax should have started. And John Bennison can feel a bit aggrieved, and I get that. But come on, we're talking about John Bennison here, right? Bennison, is technically one of the best wingers in the Oh, he reads the game so well. Oh, dear, don't know about wobble. My God, I'm almost collapsing.
I think he needs to give his body a wobble. Never mind.
Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. If he was in the championship, he might be the best championship winger if he's out there. Oh, but come on, best winger in the com. I mean, let's just list them. Ashton, Marshall. You could argue Miske. You know, Tommy Mack has still got it.
John Stone.
Even Murphy on the other side. I mean, we could get Adam Swift at Huddersfield, Lewis Murphy. You know, Broadbent, who deputised and looked absolutely class. Burge. I mean, the list goes on.
Two List brothers.
Mate. Thomas, mate. Tom.
I
just thought... what's that? Go again, mate.
The whole FC wingers, Barron
and Barron.
Yeah.
And Litton.
But Thomas, mate, I just hope your surname is giving us a clue and you're a better Morris dancer than you are a rugby league pundit, sir. Anyway, moving swiftly on, let's crack on. Oh yeah, this is fantastic. Xavier Gregory, you're gonna like this one, Steph, of the Catalan Dragons. He said, "I suspect some players have contracts with Lee." It was a brilliant game of rugby league, Xavier, my friend.
Well, they were in the same hotel, so he may know something that we don't.
Mate, honest to God. I mean, look, come on. It was a great game of rugby league. Somebody had to lose it. It just happened to be Catalan on a great run.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
They're still in the cup. They've got K out the weekend. And
the League Catalan Challenge Cup final will be a belter.
Right, here we go. Now, let's go to our friends at Wigan, who, I mean, Wigan fans have always been, you know, applauded for their depth of knowledge around the game. And then Michael Hanna comes along and says, "What's the Locker Cup?" Oh, you couldn't write it. You really couldn't. And, you know, we know that, you know, there's biased fans out there. There's a lot of biased fans out there. But Ian Hardman, come on, son. You know, fear was brown on Sunday, my friend. You must have had that many trips to the Casa. You can't really believe this. Didn't get out of first gear. What game were you watching, mate? What game were you watching? Unbelievable. They're, honestly, boys, all together in unison for this week's class of Magic Weekend. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Give you wobble for another week. Absolutely marvellous. That will be back next week.
I've just got the red card off Bazza for saying the Catalan League final. Yeah, I do apologise, Bazza.
There you go. Dawn Baker is embarrassed for her brethren. There you go. Absolutely right. Okay. Oh my God, incredible stuff. Anyway, right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit of the Challenge Cup. We're doing well for time. Got to be brief on these boys because, like I said, there's still plenty to get through. But there you go. Let's just put that up very, very briefly, and then we'll cut it off. First game Saturday. Oh, by the way, the women's games. Greg omitted to mention this. Both the women's games are on the red button, so you have.
Sorry about that. Yeah. 2
games on Sunday. I think the Saturday game is the early one, the women's kickoff, and then after the Warrington game is the second women's semi-final. So if you're not going to the games, you've got 4 games of rugby league there to look forward to. This is where it starts. It's 2:30. It's Hull KR taking on the Catalan Dragons. Should be an absolute belter. Last night, Carl on debut, the final whistle. If you haven't listened to the final whistle, then make sure you listen to that on your way to work, where the members of Super League Raw become stars of their own podcast. That's right, you lucky people who've joined tonight. You're getting invites tonight. You can come and tell us what you think about rugby league. Nobody's doing anything like this in rugby league. Only Super League Raw. You know, it makes sense. Get that QR code done. It makes sense. But he did say last night, did our Carl, very overconfident for me. Very overconfident. And don't get me wrong, KR might win at the weekend, and are favourites to win. But Greg, Catalan are getting into. I mean, it was a gutsy display against Lee. It could have gone either way. Had they won, they'd have been continuing what is one of the most impressive runs of form in Super League at the moment. You know, Lee have halted that. For Catalan Dragons, really close game. They can't afford to take this one as a shoe-in, can they?
And they shouldn't, because I remember Saints a few years ago. And again, we're not Saints bashing. I remember Saints Catalan semi-final, and Catalan beat Saints, and Saints were hot favourites. You know, you cannot take Catalan lightly. And then they beat Warrington in the final at Wembley when Warrington were red hot favourites. So Hull KR should, and I think they will win. But please don't think this is going to be easy. If Catalan turn up, they will make life very, very difficult for Hull KR. Hull KR should, and I think they will win. But I don't think it'll be the walkover that a lot of people might predict.
Don't know about you, Joel. I'm really looking forward to seeing Arthur Morg and Espiro Bichet on the same field. Because, you know, for me, I've been really impressed with Bichet. I was talking to Steph, I think it was either during the weekend or maybe just after it, in terms of when it was announced. And look, and again, if there's KR fans joining for the first time tonight, just go and look back at the tail of the tape and the amount. I mean, me and Reggie and then Steph, then Joel, when they joined, we've always give Arthur Morg raps. Arthur Morg is a wonderful rugby league player who's settled into KR so well. You know, as comfy as a bourbon down the side of my city. He's absolutely been outstanding. It's all right, Greg. I do clean up every now and again. But absolutely.
Morg's cup tied.
Oh, of course he is. So anyway, back to Espiro Bichet. But no, I mean, Espiro Bichet for me has been a revelation. And we were really questioning, weren't we, Joel, when McNamara got rid of Arthur Morg. We felt prematurely. We knew he was off contract at the end of the year. Then it got announced he was going to go early. None of us saw this kid coming. And you know, it's fair to say, Joel, even when Sam Tompkins is fit, how do you drop Espiro Bichet from full back? He's playing that well.
If he did, I think it'd be time for Steve Mack to get in there, give you a head of a wall, because you can't drop someone who's playing so well. You just can't. It's the same like for us, you know, when
Where's the elevator music, Steph, when we need it?
Give us a clue. Give us a clue.
I don't know why I'm a brain
Anyway,
fart.
there's Lionel Blair. Let's go to Lisa Goddard. Over to you, Steph. Go on.
He's a great player. I admit.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Your thoughts on Espiro Bichet? Why Joel is thinking of his 6 wives?
Yeah,
down there. Come on, carry on.
No, Bichet's undroppable at the moment for me. I think he reminds me of a bit like when Tompkins burst onto the scene when they moved him from 6 to fullback at Wigan. He's an incredible young talent, and he's also a really good goal kicker as well, which is obviously massive for, you know, in close games. That can be the difference, can't it? So I fully expect him to stay in the team for this one. I'm excited to see this big Catalan pack go up against KR as well, because I think they match Lee toe to toe at the weekend, and that could be. I mean, I get KR should win. Absolutely, they should. They've been the best side in Super League. I know Wigan fans will disagree with that, but for me, they've got the best squad in Super League at the moment. But what people are forgetting is this is knockout rugby. There's no second chances. And should we get a red card? Does that then change people's opinions? You know, can KR good enough to beat Catalan with 12 men? You know, we saw.
Actually, but hang on, Steph. Let's again, because we want people to tune in on this, because I think this has got the making. And again, you know, just listening to some KR fans, it's like, what's the point in watching it? I'll tell you why we're watching this. And Aidan Simo was saying, of course, there, Catalan out, surprise, surprise. But let's not forget last year. Last year, KR went to Perpignan, and Catalan did a proper number on him. They brought Satai and Desiree, who's been recalled off the bench, and destroyed them in the last 20 minutes of the first half. Absolutely destroyed them. So the warning signs are there.
Yeah, 100%. This is what I'm saying. It's knockout rugby. And I think not all KR fans, I think there's quite a lot of sensible KR fans who are rightly cautious about this game, because Catalans will go into this all gun blazing. They want to get to Wembley just as much as KR do. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think this game. I'm like Reggie. I still think KR have got enough to win it. But should the unthinkable happen and someone does a stupid tackle, we've seen how easy it is now. If you make one slight error and it's a red. So should that happen, especially early on, we saw Kai O'Donnell on that ground against York do a stupid spear tackle and get red carded and almost cost Lee the one where they actually went on and won the final, ironically, against KR. But it can happen, and I would be very, very cautious about being too overconfident in this one because it may come back to bite you on your backside.
Absolutely. And, Carl again going in saying 8,500 KR fans to 25 Catalan fans, a massive advantage. Maybe. But when has a rugby league match been won off the field?
Yeah.
Is all I would say to that.
It is a big advantage. I get the point. It is a massive advantage for
but hang on. Catalan have done it before. They got all the way to the final and beat Warrington.
But you know what? That's a really, really
finals. Greg, just to lead in, they've got to 2 grand finals with the same fan base. Over to you, Greg.
That's a really, really good point, though, because when Catalan beat Saints, two-thirds, 3/4 of the crowd was shouting for Catalan against Saints at Wembley. Most neutrals, in fact, all neutrals, were shouting for Catalans at Wembley. We had more French supporters in that semi-final and that final than they've ever had at home, and that's a really, really good point that's made there. That the whole KR fans will massively, massively outnumber the Catalan fans, or you would think so, and that's a big advantage to KR. So that's a really, really good point.
Yeah, well, Bazza Kingston staying humble as he always does. He's saying, we felt pretty confident last year against Wigan in the tour apart. People would say, well, that was Wigan. Catalan on the day are a very good side. I, for one, will be tuning in to that one on Saturday. I think that'll be a little belter. The watch along group on our WhatsApp group, get in there. If you're not going to the game, you new starters, you guys who've joined tonight, get your phones out on Saturday when that game's about to kick off. Go on Watch Along Live. Get involved with the debate with the guys. It's a great bit of fun, great bit of sport. Make sure you get yourself fully immersed in our community. They're very welcoming. Once you go on the WhatsApp for the first time, let them know who you are, who you support, and everything else just takes care of itself. It's a wonderful, wonderful community. Right, we move over to Sunday. Yes, there's a few people on this call that have a vested interest in this one. Warrington Wolves taking on the Lee Leopards at the totally wicked stadium. This should be an absolute belt. Of course, we saw Lee defeat Warrington a couple of weeks ago. Of course, that has no bearing in cup football. Steph knows that. Wakey, case in point, Wakey beat Lee. Then, of course, Lee go and beat Wakey in the cup. It is a standalone game. We all know that. I think Lee come in to this one, I would say, as favourite, even more so having seen the new big fella. I think he's a big bonus for Lee, especially as well if Hanley and the likes are back as well. So I think Lee are going to be in better squad. But that said, no matter what Lee put on the pitch, and I hope you won't mind me saying this, Steph, it's only going to be as good or slightly below Wigan in terms of strength, even Lee at the best against Warrington. So what Warrington have just done against that Wigan side, I don't say 1-0. Come on, let's keep it humble. What Warrington have just done against that Wigan side, if they can replicate that, Warrington should go in with hope and should go in with hope. But like I say, I do think Lee go in as favourite just based on that spine, especially with Walker out now as well. Joel, you're neutral on this, so I'll bring you in first. First and foremost, should be a great game of rugby league. You must be looking forward to this. As a neutral, it should be a spectacle, sir.
Very much so, yeah. Because injuries aside, I think the squad is strong and there's a lot of depth for both teams. Especially looking forward to seeing Joffa play again. That's going to be really interesting to see how it goes after having a full week, playing in Super League. To play in the Challenge Cup is going to be very interesting. I think Warrington are going to be up for it. Of course, hampered with the injuries, but that's never going to let Sam Burgess stop him from trying to get a win. He hates losing, doesn't he? He says that openly. So this is a really good game, and I'm genuinely struggling to say who would win it. Of course, Lee come in as favourites, naturally, but you can't really call these games because on the day anything can happen. The Challenge Cup is a it's a knockout game. So you play a different style of rugby, and it's all or nothing.
Andy Bibby saying that Warrington are going in with his bookie at 1 to 2 favourites. What I would say is, what's the value on Lee then? Because I mean, sometimes I don't know about you, Steph. You do more betting than I do. I think sometimes these bookies haven't got their ear to the ground when it comes to rugby league. Because sometimes it's like, oh well, Wigan will win. You know, the odds, regardless of form, at times just seem to be very, very odd. Don't know what the value is on Lee, but if Warrington are 1 to 2 favourites, might be worth a punt.
I've not even looked.
Have you not even looked?
I'll look. Go to Reggie. Have a look.
While you're looking, I'll go to Reggie. Reggie, your thoughts on this one, mate?
Well, I think the bookies have got wide favourite. They've got somebody from Sky and somebody from the Goldthorpe Medal working for them, because they've obviously not watched rugby league recently, and they're going on name rather than form. This is a tough one. I think if we had a full squad to play from, I think we'd win. And that's no disrespect to Lee. I think it'll be a close game. I think if we had Williams, if we had Sneed, if we had Fitzgibbon, if we had Ashton, if we had King, if we had Kai Taylor instead of Duffy at fullback, if Lindop got through playing against Wigan with a broken cheekbone.
Okay. Not being funny. Sounds like Beverly Knight should have, could have, would have this. What
I know. I'm just saying, Dave. You asked for my opinion.
I did. Go on. I'm only having a laugh. Go on.
But I think Warrington would have won. I wouldn't say it was I wouldn't say it was we'd have absolutely battered them, because Lee seems to have the wood over us, as the phrase goes. We like the Totally Wicked Stadium. We don't lose there, but we've got a lot of injuries.
That's a proper jinx job there. Go on, carry on.
Just make sure we screen grab that one, Dave.
I hate to go against Wire, but I think unless we get players back, I think Offengawi, the man's a beast. If Fitzgibbon's not fit, Holroyd, as good as the defense is, he's going to get tired pretty quickly, hitting that Lee pack. As good as Ollie Leyland was in defense, if Warrington can take the kicking tee off Ratchford and give it to Ollie Leyland, I'd be happier. As they should have done when Ratchford missed a few kicks on Sunday. They should have given the tee to Ollie Leyland, because he can knock him over from the touchline. I'm going to have to back Warrington. I'm going to have to back Warrington, because I genuinely think it's going to be a Warrington-Catalan final.
Wow. Wow. Well, I mean, Bazza's fishing there, because he knows my take on the Armstrong try. He knows my take. He's fishing, and I'm not biting. Right, go on, Steph. What's the odds for Lee, mate?
Well, Warrington are 1.66 to 1.
Yeah.
And Lee are 2.2. And on the handicap, Lee have got 2.5 point start.
And what's the odds on that one?
1.9.
1.9.
If you take the handicap. So yeah,
30p you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So
the bookies have it as an easy Warrington win.
Yeah.
How'd you work that one out?
No, but I think it should. I mean, from your perspective, one game's one game, but where Joffa's concerned, of course, Lee fans were gutted that Tom Amone wasn't coming back. Let's not, and some Lee fans talked utter nonsense with regards to that. But if Tom Amone could have come back, they'd have had him with open arms. That hasn't happened. But actually, this guy on first viewing could be more than adequate in terms of his replacement.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a very, 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 very small sample size. It's very early days. He's got a lot of work to do to even be in the same discussions as what Tom Amone did for Lee. But the early signs are good. Obviously, Reggie's talked about if you had him. Well, I think we can do the same and say if we have Armstrong, if we have Hanley, if we have Frankie Olsen, we're all massive players for Lee. None of those are actually confirmed for this game. So, that's some real pivotal players for Lee. Frankie Olsen, top tackler all season last year. Obviously, David Armstrong. Although we could give a load of raps to Bailey Hodgson, who's been absolutely outstanding for Lee since he come in. But you played Wigan last, at Magic Weekend, and it wasn't Wigan with injuries. It was a full strength, pretty much Wigan side, and he went toe to toe with them. So there's no excuses for Warrington in this game for me. If you can do it against Wigan, you can do it against Leigh. So what it does set up for me is a fantastic semi-final, and I hope that's what we get. I would look at the form, then you'd say Leigh should win this game, but there is no form in Challenge Cup semi-finals. It's irrelevant. It's about who wants it more, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. Which of these squads want to go to Wembley more? And I expect it to be a very, very close game, and it could even be, as close as when Leigh did in 2023 against Saints. It could be the difference, like a Ratchford missed kick, a Magic. Or a missed kick from Leigh, or a silly sending off, or there's going to be real fine margins in this game. Warrington are more than capable of beating Leigh in this, more than capable of doing it if they turn up. I'm going to back my team. I'm going to go Leigh 1-8, but I think it'll be very, very close, and I wouldn't be surprised if Warrington won.
Well, I mean, unlike our friends at KR there, I have to say, very well done, Mr. Sale. Not overconfident by any stretch. However, what I would say about this, you ask, and you've got to concede this. Any team that's going into any game without their first choice spine cannot be favourite. Can't be.
No.
It's the pivotal part of any team. So I get your point about Holton, and I do. Frankie Holton's been incredible, a great player, and I know Warrington have sniffed around him, and I know that. So absolutely to call out players that Leigh are missing. The difference is Warrington's spine is decimated, and with the greatest respect, Ratchford, Leyland played well against Wigan. Can he replicate it? But Ollie Leyland is not Mark Sneyd. Stephen Ratchford is not George Williams, and Sam Powell, good off the bench, good in short bursts now, but no Danny Walker as well. Massive problems down the middle. You're right. If Warrington replicate, they'll give Leigh a proper go, 100%. But Leigh are favourites, no doubt. Form, squad, favourite.
Don't forget though, Leigh had no Gaz O'Brien at the weekend. That's one of our spine players.
Yeah,
no David Armstrong. That's one of our spine players.
Yeah, but May. Form tells you everything. Leigh a favourite, mate.
No. I said on form and the way that Leigh played, and also recent history against Warrington as well. When you have had a full side out, Leigh have still beat you. So form would 100% say. However, we've not faced each other in a Challenge Cup semi-final, and this is what I was saying. Form goes out the window, and if you look at the most recent stats that we've got and most recent games, Wire had a phenomenal performance against Wigan when they were expected to get beaten heavily. I predicted 18 plus Wigan win, and you went 2 points away. So what I'm saying is, it's going to be it's going to come down to which team wants it more. And if Leigh wants it more, they'll win. If Warrington wants it more, they'll win. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. Well, Leigh a favourite. Right, okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. Outstanding stuff. Right, okay. We asked you earlier on. We did, of course, the team of the month. Let's just put that back up on the screen. This was it. The team of April. Forget Magic Weekend if you're late to rivals. That doesn't count. This was the April team of the month. Who was your player of the month? It can only be the 1 to 13, not the people on the bench. The people on the bench were not good enough to get into the starting 13. So, of those players, get it in the chat now. Who would be your player of the month and why? And in a moment, we're going to announce it, who we've given it to. But before we do that, and to give you time to put your choice in the chat with a little bit of verbatim, we'll go down the screen, starting with Reggie. Reggie, who would you give the player of the month to if it was up to you?
If it was up to me, I think there's plenty of candidates. Miski, as I've said, has done really well. He doesn't get the raps that he deserves, Miski. I don't think. I think McDonald's has done all right. Well, he's done more than all right. He's been spectacular for a second row. For me, though, and, please don't accuse me of being biased, I'm going for Matty Ashton. 6 tries on one leg.
Is that how many you let in?
Is that
how many you let in, Reggie?
Say again.
Is that how many you let in or how many you scored?
No, that's how many you scored. So I'm going Matty Ashton.
Yeah.
Going Matty Ashton.
Oh, I do love you, mate. Steph.
There's 2 for me that have really stood out this month. Sam Walters, I think, has been outstanding at Wigan. Really outstanding, and I think probably surprised a few people as well, which is why he's stood out so much. I think his performance has been phenomenal for Wigan, and like I said, probably put a few of their established players to shame a little bit with his efforts. But I'm going to go for Peter Hickey. Yeah.
So you're going Peter Hickey, right? Okay, and Joe?
Yeah, it's a three possible players for me. I think Peter Hickey's had an incredible month. Matty Ashton's been great. Sam Walter's been great. Yeah, I'm going to go a bit. Obviously, I'm going to go Lucky Lamb.
You're going Lucky Lamb?
Yeah, really impressed with this month.
Right,
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right, okay. It's that time of the show where we are going to announce the player of the month for the month of April. We get into the detail here at Super League Raw. You know, that is what we do. We're not the Goldthorpe. We're not the Man of Steel. We're Super League Raw. We call it straight. And this guy, for me, is fully deserving. There he is. It's Sam Walters. Sam Walters. That was supposed to be this, by the way. Guess who it's going to be?
What do you think?
Oh, dear Lord. Lads, it's been a long weekend. Right, okay. Player of the month for April is Sam Walters. It had to be Sam Walters. Sam Walters, absolutely incredible. Incredible. Who'd have thought he could have played front row? I mean, it's just been a revelation, but not just that. 99% tackle efficiency, 333 meters, both sides of the ball. That is just bonkers. I never saw that in Sam Walters. Did you? Anyone?
Yeah.
No, I think he's taken a while to settle at Wigan. You know, we were surprised when Wigan signed him. I think, and then he got an injury, didn't he? He didn't play for a while because of his injury. And I think it's taken him a while to get back. And I think he was a bit hot-headed as well. And he you know, it may be a bit of a Will Price syndrome a little bit to make his mark, but he's settled down in that position really, really well this season.
100%. I mean, you know, you think a front row forward's going to tire. You think he's going to tire. He's missed 2 tackles in 3 games. It's just nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's Dufty-esque, that, mate.
They say for a team, you know, these days, for you to be winning, you've got to be at 90% and above. So for one player individually who's in the front row, at 99%, when you think he's going to get tired, certainly by an hour in, that's just incredible. 6 busts as well. It's crazy, isn't
it? Honestly, I just can't believe. You know, well, I remember the first game in round 7 when they put him in the front row, and that was against KR, and I thought, oh, advantage KR. On that one shirt, I thought, oh, dear me, we're going to have to do it tough here if Walters is in the front row. And lo and behold, you know, he was one of the best players, if not the best player on the park. He was absolutely, you know, and he was coming up against the likes of Jesse Sue, JWH. And it's like he'd been playing there all his career. It was just unbelievable, the performance he put in.
Don't forget, Dave, as well, this is a guy who scored 2 tries in that semi-final against Lee to get to the grand final, then was dropped for Farrell, I think it was, in the final. It is the way he's come on, and especially in that position. That's why I picked 2 players just to cover, because I knew it'd be one of the 2. So I was right technically, but no, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And moving into front row, I'd put it the same. While we're talking about Hickey, I'd liken it to the fact of moving Hickey from fullback to centre in terms of the progression he's made in that front row position. It's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, our friend the Robin doesn't think so. We're not biased. You know, we are not biased. You know, that player
I picked Tiku, calm down.
Doesn't represent any of our teams. But facts are facts. Facts are facts. Take the tinted glasses off and look at players. Forget the shirt they wear. look at what they contribute. That guy there will probably get no recognition from the Goldthorpe, from Man of Steel, from anybody. But let me tell you, we're giving him recognition. He, without doubt, in April, deserves nothing but respect to go into one of the hardest positions on a field and to stand up against the players he stood up against. Let's remember who he's come up against. He's come up against JWH. He's come up against Whitbread, Sue, Walmsley, Lees. He's come up against SASA, Knight. You know, he's not been playing Salford. He's not been playing Castleford. You know, he's been playing the creme de la creme of front rows. And this lad, and he is a lad, has stood there toe to toe and said,
but he's also outshone Thompson, who's gone to the NRL and done it with the best in the NRL. You know, so in a position that's not his position. So anybody who says this guy's not been outstanding in April definitely needs to get their heads a wobble.
Yeah, Phil, that's marker tackles, mate. His efficiency is 99%. He did 135 tackles and 34 marker tackles. That is an incredible amount of work. Absolutely sensational. So, Sam Walters, sir, we applaud you. Absolutely deserving of the award this month. Boys, for once, we're early. We've got 9 minutes left.
Wow.
So if anybody's got a comment, if anybody's got anything that they want to ask and we can debate for 2 or 3 minutes, we'd be more than happy to do that. But one thing's for certain, for those new members and the rest, by all accounts, I've given my head a bang. Nah, sorry. Do you think the Robin pod is probably your favourite pod, innit?
I've just had a message from Matty Ashton. He's filthy. He didn't get it for his 6.
I'm sure he is, but there you go.
I've got one for you, Dave, because Mark's mentioned it in the chat, so I'll bring it up. What did it mean to you getting the ball presented off the members? I wasn't there for it, but to get that recognition for what you've done for those members, what did that mean to you at Magic?
Yeah, incredible. I mean, look, we know we've got the best community. That and it's look. I do what I do because I love the game of rugby league. Everybody knows I've got an ambition to take this on full time, even though I do stupid hours as it is already doing it. And I couldn't do it without the love and support of the members. That's the whole point of the membership. This podcast and what we do can't continue if it doesn't become viable. It's as simple as that. And I've got a nucleus of people who have thrown the weight behind me, not just in terms of the membership, but also friendship and respect, and also your belief in what I'm trying to do. They believe in what I'm trying to do. This is why we're getting so many viewers. It's because we do sit right down the middle when we do this podcast. You've seen me at a game. You put me in a game, and I reined it in because it was around the members this weekend. But you've seen me in the South Stand at Warrington. When I'm supporting my team, I'm supporting my team. But when I do this, I'm a rugby league supporter first and foremost. So to one, have so many come with us, and some people not knowing what it would look and feel like, to then on the other side of Magic see the attendance at the Challenge Cup go up by some numbers because they want to come and do it again. We expect a really, really good turnout for the grand final. It wasn't just the ball being presented, which was absolutely lovely. And for those who are listening, basically all the members who were there signed a rugby ball and gave it to me as a memento of Magic, which was a lovely, lovely thing. But the biggest reward that I get is to be in their company, to be able to look at these comments on a Tuesday night. And like I say, that means the world. So, yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful gesture and really humbling. And like I say, couldn't have been happier. Obviously, the only thing that was missing was you two at the bottom of the screen. You've been a massive part of the journey. But yeah, incredible.
No, it was nice to see you getting some recognition, mate. And hopefully, well, anyway what their fans think of you. So it was a lovely gesture from Mark and from the rest of the members. I thought that.
Yeah. Happy days, lovely. Ryan Gregory, hello to Ryan. 10 rounds in. Do we think the grand final winners will reckon in the grand final and the winners? For me, I'll box off really quickly. I think the good money will go on Wigan KR. And I said at the start of the season, I think KR could do it this season. And I'm not changed my mind. I think if they can keep doing what they're doing, I just hope that they don't fade, because they have got off to an incredible start. But KR have got it in the locker to do it this year, and it'd be nice to have a new name on the trophy. Your thoughts, Reg?
I said Wigan KR, but I still think Wigan.
Yeah.
I still think
Joel?
Wigan, they know how to win it.
Yeah, I'm going to go Wigan KR, but I genuinely feel like KR could do it this year. I think they've just got the squad, they've got the depth, they've got the fan base, they've just got it all. So for me, yeah, if KR didn't do it, I'd be a little bit surprised in a way.
Yeah, Steph?
Yeah, I'm the same as everyone. I think you can't look past Wigan and KR. I would for KR fans and for Rugby League fans as well to get another name on the trophy. I think that would be amazing for our KR. I mean, they may do the double KR and do the Challenge Cup and Super League, which would be amazing for them. The big injuries is the one. So that's the only thing that I think could derail KR from a final this year is if they pick up injuries to key personnel. But even then, they've got quality in that squad to come in as well. So I would be amazed if it wasn't another repeat of last year in the Wigan KR final.
Fantastic stuff. Well, that's done us a few minutes. Great night. Fantastic that so many members have joined. Please do the QR code. I'll leave it on the screen until we go out. Come and join this community. Trust me. Once you join it, you'll love it. That's what the members have been all about. It's a privilege to be in the company of everybody. And, I do keep my ear to the ground. I listen to my members. So as a treat to everybody, the last thing I've done this evening is booted our Robin friend out for good. They will not be back next week. You have a lovely week. Make sure that you support the Final Whistle podcast. It's already out now. There'll be a new one next week for the Challenge Cup. We will be back next Tuesday live, as always, at 8 p.m. for Super League Raw Weekly. Here come the top performers from up to round number 10. Bye for now, everybody. Cheers, boys.
Here are your top performers after 9 rounds of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer and out on his own is Jay Field of Wigan Warriors. He's got 11. The most try assists, well, they've come from Lachlan Lamb, Jake Connor and the pictured Jack Wellsby, all with 12. The most meters made in Super League is Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves, 1,492. Whilst the most clean breaks have come from that man Jay Field once again with 10. The most tackles made in Super League this season thus far have come from Oliver Partington of the Catalan Dragons, 379. Whilst the top tackle buster in the division is Junior Insemba with 59 for the Wigan Warriors. The most hard meters made down the middle, you've got to be a prop forward, second row loose forward in this one. It's Alex Wormsley of St Helens, 1,193. Whilst the most offloads have come from Tavita Frangai Jr. of the Gatland Dragons, he's got 21. And finally, still with the most goals in Super League, it's Mark Percival of St Helens with 26. These are your top performers after 9 rounds of the Betfred Super League.